All right, Unit 5. This is a big one. We have 3 chapters of the textbook and a film with this unit. Chapters 8, 9, and 10. And then the film is La Historia Oficial, or the official story. Once again, the film is available on Netflix, on iTunes Videos. I believe this one you can get through Amazon Prime. You can get it through the IU East Library System. I am working on trying to get the film digitized so I can put a link to it on our on-course site. This probably won't happen though until after the IU East spring break is over. So if you have access to those other mediums and want to get going with the film, I would go ahead and do it in another way. But I will let you know if and when I am able to get it digitized and put up here. Another word on digitized films is the quality isn't going to be fabulous because what happens is I'll have to record it in my Adobe Connect Office. But if you don't have access to it in another way, then hopefully I'll be able to do this as a way for you to access the film. All right, so Unit 5, we're into the meat of the 20th century in this unit. You have 3 chapters. I have quite a few PowerPoints that I have posted for this unit. Those are accessible through the modules. Of course, you can go directly into resources on OnCourse and click on Unit 5 resources and get them there. There's also one handout I'd like for you to read that's on the timeline of the Civil War in Guatemala. So those are your supplemental resources. Those are what I expect you to do in addition to reading the textbook chapters. Now, the supplemental resources, and I've had this conversation with a few of you either by email or in office hours. The supplemental resources are meant to be exactly that. They're supplemental. They don't necessarily go directly along with the chapters. And I think I mentioned this in the beginning of the semester, that I don't do chapter outlines. I don't do PowerPoints that go directly down the chapter. This is a 300 level class. You are all capable of reading and understanding the materials. I offer you my supplemental PowerPoints to delve more deeply into some of the topics that are covered in the chapter, to give you some visual images to go along with those topics. So take them for what they are. They can help you. They can help you with particularly in putting together ideas for the discussion forum. But the quizzes do not come from my supplemental resources. They are called reading quizzes for a reason because they are taken from the chapter readings. So the quizzes this time around. I got feedback from quite a few of you on how you felt about the all multiple choice quizzes that I gave for capítulo 7. Oh, sorry, I'm going to my Spanish for chapter 7, and for como agua para chocolate, like water for chocolate. And initially it seemed that most of you preferred having the combination of multiple choice and short answer essay. But more recently I found that many of you prefer just having the multiple choice. And we seem to be about evenly divided as a class over whether you'd prefer an all multiple choice quiz or one that combines multiple choice with short answer essay. So you will see for chapters 8, 9, and 10, I have posted 2 options for the quizzes. You can take an all multiple choice quiz, or you can take a quiz that combines multiple choice with short answer essay. You cannot take both. You have to choose one or the other. So choose wisely, but it does not make a difference to me which one you choose. Choose whichever you think will be best for you to do. Of course, then you also have forum posts. So again, my disclaimer on these chapters, because we are really getting into the meat, like I said, of the 20th century in Latin America, and this is a time period of turmoil and violence and dictatorships and repression and revolutions and civil wars and death squads and disappearances and so many issues that are really disturbing and difficult to deal with. And you are going to find throughout the chapters, and even in my PowerPoint, you're going to find the hand of the United States government in many of these issues. And again, this is not because your book is anti-US. This is not because I am anti-US. You have to realize this. This was the reality of the 20th century US foreign policy dealings with Latin America, particularly during the Cold War, and escalated dramatically during the Reagan presidency. Our military trained Latin American militaries and paramilitaries in warfare, in counterinsurgency tactics, and even in torture tactics. There are US government documents that reveal all of this. We did training not only in Latin America, but we brought their militaries up to train them, higher ups from their militaries, to train them at what is called culturally, it's not the official name, but what's called culturally the School of the Americas, where they were trained in counterinsurgency and torture tactics. And if you do some research on the School of the Americas, you'll find that in the period of the 1960s through the 1980s, many dictators of Latin American countries were trained there at one time or another. We gave millions and sometimes even billions of dollars to militaries and paramilitaries and dictators in the name of fighting communism, because anything that could have been leftist leaning or anything that looked socialist was considered communist, and that was a point of fear during the Cold War. So we made the argument that we needed to do this. But as a result, people in Latin America lived under brutal dictatorships. They were often repressed by their own governments and military. They were disappeared, they were tortured, they were killed. And U.S. government documents, so documents of our own government, correspondence, memos, Department of State directives, show that we often knew who was responsible for these types of actions. And we had oftentimes military of our own involved in some of this. Documents that were released after the Civil War ended in El Salvador, a civil war in which we gave billions upon billions of dollars to the government, show that we knew who was responsible for some of the most high-profile killings. The killing of Archbishop Oscar Romero, the killing of U.S. churchwomen who were fighting for the human rights of people. They showed that our military and our funding went to training of not only militaries and paramilitaries, but also of death squads. So of off-duty people who went out and simply killed people who were suspected of being subversives. This is a difficult time period in Latin America to study. Now, is that to say that we should get all upset about this? It's something that is upsetting. It's something we need to realize about our government, but we also have to realize the historical context. Not that that justifies everything, but we have to put ourselves into the perspective of the time period. I would ask that all of you, especially in the discussion forum, keep your posts and your discussions polite. Recognize that people are going to have vastly different viewpoints on this time period in history. And some of you may feel very, very strongly one way or another, either in justification or against some of the things that went on, whether it's dealing with just Latin America or US and Latin America or just the overall situation. And differing viewpoints are good. They make for fruitful discussion, as long as that discussion is polite and respectful. So just be careful of that. And so, again, you have quizzes on the 3 chapters. You have a quiz on La Historia Oficial, on the official story. The film quiz is only multiple choice. I don't have it as a separate one for a short answer. It's easier with a film to simply do multiple choice. And then you have your discussion forum. Keep in mind, I extended the due dates for this unit beyond what they were in the syllabus. I guess it's just because we have the time, as long as you are working on your research project. Okay, so be aware of due dates, not only for the quizzes, not only for the forum, but also that the due dates for the research project are coming up. And our final discussion forum of the semester is on the research projects. So I will be posting the research projects. You will be responsible for reading some of the projects of your classmates. So keep that in mind as you're working on your projects. As always, if you have any questions, you can email me, set up an appointment, and I look forward to interacting with you with Unit 5.